Well, good morning everybody. My name is Ian Heathcock of Inoapps. Welcome to this webinar, jointly hosted by Inoapps and Oracle. Today we are looking at a very full agenda for you this morning. We'll be looking at how we can enhance revenue, grow customers and reduce cost. We're privileged to be joined today by the Scottish Technology Journalist of the Year, Bill McGee. Bill will be providing us with an independent view both on the marketplace and the use of technology within the sales environment. Our presentation will continue with a positioning of why CRM on demand is important. These thoughts will be further endorsed by customer comments and demonstrations of the power of Oracle CRM on demand. Before we go into the presentations and hand over to our presenters for today, just a couple of little points of housekeeping. This presentation is being recorded. It will be edited and produced onto our website. A link will be sent out to you probably within the next 5 to 7 days. At the end of the session, we will be having a questions and answers area. However, if you have a burning question that needs some response during the presentation itself, if you could use your toolbar and panel as highlighted here to be able to answer a question, that will then be forwarded to the panelists and we will try and pull the answer out during the session itself. We're also planning to have a couple of interactive polls during the session, for which we would obviously like to have your participation in there. Simply when those are produced for you, we will then just ask you to choose your option and hit submit. We will then share the results with you as soon as we can. So, without further ado, I'll hand over to Bill McGee. Thank you, Bill.
Hi there. Hi everybody. Yes, that was quite a build-up. I hope I can live up to that. Yeah, what I wanted to say, if I may, I'll just launch straight into this. Lately, within my syndicated tech column, I write for various folks, including IOD Scotland, High Tech Scotland, Edinburgh Chamber of Commerce, the Scottish Chambers, plus the Princess Scottish Youth Business Trust website, backing up my work with Scotsman.com and Scotland on Sunday business pages and enough of the vanity publishing. It's become apparent that we've all got to up our game and be sufficiently agile and nimble on our feet to finally work our way out of this lingering recession. I believe that niche but nevertheless quite stellar tech innovations can continue to come out of Scotland as the country shows it truly competes on the global stage. Innovations coming from Scottish SMBs that represent the backbone of the economy, but crucially, as long as they utilise the right tech tools to boost productivity. Nowadays, online activity features a plethora of website action, and especially with the onset of the phenomenon of social networking led by Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, not to mention gadgets like BlackBerry and iPhone. And it's the smart companies that gain traction to their business efforts by switching on to what's on offer. Doing nothing is not a strategy. Such tech innovations will continue to come out of Scotland, joining a list of technological developments during a decade that started with the new millennium YK2 damp squib, but very real debilitating dot-com crisis, and ended with the credit crunch. My take on the noughties is funding for startups has been tight and will remain so for the foreseeable future. The good news is that 2010 is expected to bring a bit of commercial light relief, with current surveys now estimating a 2% spend by IT managers this year, following zero outlays since March 2008. I think there's a report by Gartner this very morning. Tech comments that stick in my mind, pointing the way ahead, come from one managing director of a quite innovative tech enterprise, along with two heads of public bodies. They're Andy Bird of Inoapps, who I've met a few times. They have bases in Aberdeen, Edinburgh and England, together with BT's director in Scotland, Brendan Dick, and Polly Purvis, executive director of Scotland IAs. Andy's comments really do stick in my mind, how a tech firm like the one he runs sweats out the assets, as he puts it, of its customer base to keep them ahead of the game and make their mark. With Oracle highlighted strongly, I've found here, I've discovered that Inoapps' e-business suite of products and unique dashboard client solutions share one vital factor, an ability matched by an agility to work seamlessly across all sectors in the marketplace. Over at BT, Brendan Dick continues to press home, especially with his chairman's hat on at the new employer board for Scotland, that it's crucial we all get our skill sets in line this year to boost productivity for the good of the Scottish economy. Echoing his colleague Nigel Stagg, new Managing Director of BT Business, he predicts a gap becoming more marked between those firms that become technology champions and those lagging behind in the tech stakes. For Polly at Scotland IAs, Polly Purvis, it's all about striking a balance on IT skills by, yes, inviting talent from abroad, but also by developing homegrown individuals with bright ideas. She told a round table in Glasgow recently, this can be achieved by nurturing and commercialising such creativity to the lasting benefit of the economy. The Scottish Council for Development and Industry's Chief Executive, Dr. Leslie Sawyers, pointed out in the New Year message that Scotland's economic recovery and growth increasingly depends on its businesses' successes in international markets. This is being aided by a new and important website you may have come across called Kilter, K-I-L-T-R, which is fully recognising the power of Scots abroad. A site to watch in the weeks and months to come. Check it out. Such a drive, whether at home or abroad, must of course come against a backdrop where headlines will continue to be dominated by the Leviathan tit-for-tat war of the web between Google and Microsoft over who controls the planet's internet communications portal. I've stopped counting at the number of times when in the company of executives from the software giant that the mere mention, no matter how unwitting, of the G word produces a kind of bristling effect. Likewise, over at the online web search engine leader, the M word is also just kind of never mentioned. Not in public anyway. Yet as the rivalry further intensifies, they watch each other like two beady hawks perched high in their parallel worlds with heads well and truly stuck in the cloud. And their next moves will undoubtedly affect everyone in the global tech world. Situated bang in the middle of all of this stramash, where squillions of bucks, or at least assured double-digit profits, or even better, are at stake, are the country's growing cluster of small to medium-sized companies that represent the engine room of the economy. It seems like a long, long time ago since the dot-com bubble crisis at the turn of the new millennium, around March 2000 to be precise, when the Nasdaq Composite went into free fall, losing 9% in less than a week. Over the next 2 years, a reported $5 trillion, that's trillion, was wiped off the face of the market as vital lifeline venture capital funding rapidly dried up for web-based firms. And then, to round things off, came the credit crunch. Looking ahead on the bright side, one thing's for certain, despite the world's financiers' attempts to bring the world to its knees, wherever one looks, technology remains plumb center of business and commercial action, and that's the overriding message I'd like people to take away from today.
Okay, thank you, Bill. This is David Lazarus. I'm responsible for selling CRM on demand into the UK and Ireland for Oracle. Thank you, Bill. Very interesting to get an external view, a real-world view outside of the technology bubble. I'd just like to spend a few minutes talking to you about why Oracle and Inoapps believe that CRM on demand is that CRM is important, why Oracle's particular flavor is different and adds greater value than other CRM solutions in the marketplace. And then I'd like to hand over to one of my colleagues who will show you some of the product, some live software in action. So first of all, just to say, any comments about future product, we can change our mind. We don't generally, but we have that option.